I can guarantee you guys
Pause.
that 95% of the commentary around Doc Rivers is going to be bad, right? And what I would say is this: I want to give Doc Rivers first. Give Doc Rivers his flowers first. Doc Rivers, he's a phenomenal coach. He really is. I understand Ashley in game 6s or game 7s. He's 6-10 or whatever it is. He has the worst record when closing out any type of series, especially in a game 7. And that is the story. But that doesn't take away from Doc Rivers as a legendary coach. It doesn't take away from Doc Rivers being a title winner coach. But we saw this coming, right? And I don't think it stops with Doc Rivers. I think that James Harden is probably next. When you see Embiid and where he's at in his career, you have to find a way to surround him with the people that can get him to the next level. Now, I didn't like what he said. Nobody liked what he said as far as like, yo, there's 5 people on the team. James and I can't do it by ourselves. You know, you're Joel Embiid. To me, you're the most dominant player in the NBA. So shout out to Doc Rivers for having a legendary career. I would like for this to be the end, Ashley. You're done. It's okay. What else are you chasing? You know what I'm saying? Go to the YMCA and give back. Go to the Boys and Girls Club and give back more. Go enjoy your career. Go enjoy your life and your family. Right? The NBA is trying to get younger. You see like JJ Redick getting looks. You see the Celtics where they're at with their coach. I just think Doc is done. I would like to see Sam Cassell get a shot at this gig. I really like Sam Cassell. I think this is exactly what Joel Embiid and this team needs. And look, if they make the right decisions, they won't be far off, Ashley.
Before I make my point, I'm curious. You said that Doc Rivers is a phenomenal coach or a fantastic coach. I think that's the words you use. What makes you come to that conclusion?
Because he's a winner. Because listen,
is he?
Yes, he is a winner. He is a winner.
Is he a winner?
He definitely is.
In what way is he a winner?
What you mean? Has he not won?
Well, yeah,
that's hard to do.
He has the worst postseason winning percentage, probably in the NBA, or at least top 5. I mean, it's with the Charlotte Hornets. It's 32%, and this is when we're talking about Doc Rivers is 16-33 in playoff games where his team already has 3 wins, which means that in the postseason, he is incapable of getting it done. While, yes, in the regular season, you look at his tenure with the Philadelphia 76ers, the past 3 seasons that he has been the head coach there, they have finished top 4 in the Eastern Conference. So regular season, I agree with you. He wins. Yeah. But the regular season doesn't get you banners. Regular season doesn't get you trophies.
So let me ask you a question.
Doesn't get you parades. And in the postseason, he is incapable of getting it done. And in his entire career, has only done it once. And some will say that's because he had the big 3 in Boston.
Oh, of course. But let me ask you this question. It's funny because I was getting my hair done last night. You still haven't commented on my hair. You never comment on, when I get my hair done, I get trimmed up, or
that's
if I get them retwisted. You
never
do it. You never do that. No. You're selfish. You're a little selfish.
I pick and choose when I give men compliments to keep them humble.
Oh, my
goodness,
It's
part of
Ashley,
my MO.
You don't have to do that. Just give flowers when flowers are deserved.
I pick and choose.
It's funny because I was getting my hair done last night till like 3 in the morning.
I think you smell good today.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I'm going to let you know what that is. I forget the name of it. I got it at Kith this past weekend, or FS1 weekend. Ashley, I was watching
F1.
F1. Yeah, there you go. I was watching a documentary on Netflix last night, and I can't recall the name. And it was basically about, I think the name may have been Coaches' Life Advice. Best Coaches' Life Advice. Okay. Serena Williams, tennis coach, Doc Rivers, this soccer coach. There were so many coaches just talking. It opened up with Doc Rivers. Okay. And Doc Rivers immediately talks about that Celtics team. And he said that was his hardest challenge because he had 3 dogs, he had 3 leaders, and he had to get them all to play together. And you had a young Rajon Rondo. That was one of the greatest coaching outings the NBA has ever seen. taking all three of those guys, getting them to be selfless, play together, and take the East. So I agree with you on, look, in postseason he hasn't been able to get it done.
It's called the
But
playbook?
you can also, is it the playbook?
The playbook?
Yeah, that's it. It was
Playbook?
really good. I really love Doc's perspective on some things. I'm not taking away from what you said, but I just don't want to pile on, right? Because at the end of the day, it's hard to win a championship. It's hard to win a championship. Yes, you have the big three, but you know who they had to go through to win that championship, and then you also know how he had to bring everybody together, the Perkins of the world. You had a young Rondo. Think about that. Remember how Rondo was? And having a coach like that to be able to meet him where he was at and yell at him and scream at him and say, you're not seeing the game the right way. You need to listen. You need to follow us. You need to follow Ray Allen. So I want to give Doc his flowers. I'm not taking away from your point, but it was time. It was time for him. It's time for him to move on. It's time for me personally to hang it up.
I mean, I hear what you're saying about Rondo. When he came into the league, everyone knew that he got better at shooting as he got older. When he first came into the league, it was atrocious. He couldn't hit the side of a bus. But we're still talking about a Boston Celtics team that had Ray Allen, that had Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett in their prime. That's a big three, and not to mention they had a solid supporting cast. So while I hear what you're saying about having to wrangle in Rondo and Perkins and get those personalities to mesh well together.
So that's all you need is them three?
I just said, and they had a solid supporting cast.
Okay.
That was a really good basketball team. So I hear what you're saying about a coach having to wrangle in personalities and things like that. But he still had a lot. And I don't know how much coaching was actually required of him for them to win.
But it's not always coaching in X's and O's. Sometimes, the game has definitely passed him, and there's coaches running circles around him. I don't think it's always about X's and O's. I think with that team, they needed someone that can lead the way, humble the Rondos of the world, that can speak to the big tickets of the world. Calm down, brother. You're going too far. Biggs, you're going too far. And also get guys to buy in and sacrifice, right? And so I think if you don't have Doc Rivers, I don't think the Celtics win. But we don't have to spend forever on this. Doc is out. So what's next?
Well, for me, my take on it is this. I think that there is blame. I'm not going to sit here and put all the blame on Doc Rivers. Embiid didn't show up. James Harden didn't show up. And also the front office failed this team because they didn't have depth. They really only had maybe 3 or 4 guys. And that's not enough to win a championship. And that's definitely not enough to beat a Boston Celtics team that, as you can see, can hit you from so many different angles. With that said, this is a team that has underperformed drastically in the postseason, coming off of a top 4 standing in the regular season. That falls on Doc Rivers because there were pieces there for him to make something happen. Now, again, will I say that this particular instance was his fault? No, I don't think that it was his fault. I think that, again, Embiid didn't show up. Harden didn't show up. They actually kind of quit on him. And in a sense, they got punched in the mouth and didn't know how to counterpunch. That's not Doc Rivers. You can't teach that.
Right.
That's the will of an athlete. But however, if you look at his entire tenure as a coach, he's blown multiple 3-1 leads with the Lob City Clippers. The 76ers have underperformed. Some will even say the Boston Celtics underperformed because you had prime KG. And now that I'm thinking about it, KG wasn't I would consider KG on Boston prime KG. You had prime KG. You had Ray Allen, one of the greatest shooters in the NBA. You had why am I drawing a blank on his name right now? Paul Pierce. You had a great supporting cast, and you only got one championship from that.
Baby.
You look at his entire resume.
Perk came in, gave you some.
Right. You look at his entire resume as a coach. While this particular Game 7 situation may not have been his fault, his entire resume as a coach, minus that one championship in Boston, has been subpar.
Right.
And I think that also played a role in
So
the
let me ask you this
76ers
question. Let me ask you this
decision to
question.
fire
Let me
him.
ask you this question, right? So now you love talking about, when players show you who they are, believe them, basically, right? Because I'm the guy that loves the stories. I always talk about our digital board and how guys can write their own narrative, right? And rewrite it. You have Chris Paul. Chris Paul in the biggest moments postseason continues to go down with some type of soft tissue injury.
I mean, that's not his
So
fault.
let's go back to the Clippers. So I say that because sometimes we just pile on too much. Doc Rivers in L.A., do you remember Chris Paul going down? If Chris Paul don't go down, they may win two. They may win two championships. Do they not? You don't remember those moments?
I do. Well, I'm saying
or was
Clippers.
it? Did he hurt his hand? It wasn't. He broke. Was it his thumb? I think he may have broke his thumb. Maybe it wasn't his hamstring or maybe a quad. But he got hurt, and if he didn't get hurt, they win. So do we gotta blame everything on Doc Rivers? Huh? That don't make sense to me.
It's not about blaming everything on Doc Rivers, but you have to look. The percentages don't lie. He's 16-33 when his teams have 3 games under their belt in a playoff series. That means that every single time most of the time when you've needed only 1 game to win, you have failed. Almost every single time. That's 32. That's a 32% win percentage. That's atrocious in the postseason. And you have to look at the coach in that situation. I'm not saying it's 100% on him, but he is not the coach that takes you to the promised land. And I know that
done?
Everybody will go back. He should be done. That he is not. I don't know how many times we talk about this with players all the time, that if when a player shows you who they are, you got to believe them. You can't just flip a switch and all of a sudden become someone different. Doc Rivers has shown us that he is a regular season winning coach. He is not the coach that's going to go ahead and bring a banner to your arena. He is not the coach that's going to bring a championship, a parade to your city. He's just not that guy. It's just not. He's not that guy.
2015, Chris Paul fought through a hamstring injury. 2016, Paul fractured his right hand. That's when they definitely was going to win that year. Come on. Without Paul and Blake Griffin in the starting lineup.
Sheesh.
Like, come on.
Yeah, that's just bad luck.
Yeah, I mean, but listen, this is the
Sports.
business, right?
Sports,
nobody care about all of that. Ain't nobody gonna sit here and do all that research. Ain't nobody gonna sit here and do all the research and say, well, this series or this year, the blame goes to these players or this coach. Nobody's gonna do that. Yeah. So unfortunately, when you're the head coach and you're the face of the franchise, you're going to take all the blame.
It's not 100% his fault. And I think that anybody who's watched these series unfold and the teams that he's been part of would be able to make that assessment. There's a lot of things, like you said, that goes into winning a championship. Phil Jackson said it best. It's 50% health and 50% luck. It's not easy to win a chip. A lot of things have to go right. Yeah. But you also can't ignore the fact that in some way, shape, or form, he has failed.
Right.
Yeah.
Whether it's because it was unfortunate injuries or whether it's because bad rotations, whether it's because bad substitutions or lack thereof or adjustments, he has failed. And your track record is your track record. And his track record is exceptional regular season coach, but not the guy who's going to bring a championship to your city. And that is what it is.
Yeah.
Got you.
All right.